first, ladies first.
I'm 83 years old. I'm 83 years old, and my birthday is in September, 1935.
And I'm much younger at 86 years old, and my birthday is in January 20th.
Both the 20th, both the 20th, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Both of my parents were from Jersey City, downtown Jersey City. They went to school together, played in the neighborhood together, and they knew each other their whole lives.
And so did their parents come from Ireland?
My father's parents, I know his mother came from Ireland. I wasn't sure about his father. That would be my grandfather. Yeah, I don't know whether he came, but his mother had an Irish brogue. She came from Ireland. My mother's parents also came from Jersey City.
Yeah.
And,
Do you know where in Ireland?
we think our ancestors came from County Leitrim and a town called anyways, county.
Grammy.
My father was born in Italy,
Oh, right.
and the thing then in the, I guess it was in the teens sometime, he was 17, and he and his cousin got on a boat and came to America through Ellis Island. And then the way the immigration was done is you had to have a sponsor here, and you should have had some sort of a profession too, which was the right way to do it. So he came and through Ellis Island, and he said the boat ride was not good. I think he was in steerage, which is down, you know, they were a wealthy family. And they gave him a banana and he threw it out the window. That was fun. But when he came, he went to his sisters in Auburn, New York, and you know, the rest is history with meeting my mother and all that stuff. Mom was born in downtown Jersey City, not far from yours, and she was blonde, blue-eyed, and in this Italian family, her father was kind of fair. I think he was French Canadian. He spoke good English, but my grandmother didn't. So I think he was more educated and came from Canada and Italy.
She Italian?
Yes, her last name was Mastrola, Teresa Mastrola.
Oh my gosh.
Now she had a mother, grandma, this big, and she had 7 children, and she was another pistol. She, if you were in her house sitting around, my mother told us, you know, talking with friends, this and that, and she didn't want you there anymore, she'd shut the lights. So they'd be sitting in the dark, Ma, you know. But she was so funny. She'd come and visit all the time, and she didn't speak good English, supposed to she, and my mother and father would give her money, you know, and then when we got married, she came to my mother's house before the marriage, and she had a bundle of $1 bills wrapped in a rubber band. Here, key, you know. Nice. And she gave us like $100 in dollars. I think it was all the money that she collected through the years.
Wow.
But I love no card, just this rubber band, and you know, sweet as could be, you know, so cute, adorable.
Yeah, I forgot. Do you know why you were both named your names? Like Vivian and...
Yeah, I was
John.
named after my grandfather. He was John F.
Yeah,
John Francis Howes. His name was Howes, Howes. I was named after him.
after him.
And you named
Well, the Italians tend to name you after a family, somebody in the family. My name is Vivian, but in Italian it's Vincenza. And there was, and then Cungetta, the middle name. So it's really Vivian Constance Di Stefano O'Rourke. Or, if you want to really put it like it should be, it's Vincenza Cungetta Di Stefano O'Rourke. So, you know, it's just, you know, it's fun.
Three brothers and a sister.
I know.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Jack.
Well, I had 4 siblings. My sister was Marion, brothers, and my brother Frank, brother Ken, and I had a little brother named Raymond. And my father was a bus driver most of his career. A city bus that he drove for about 25 or 30 years. Then he went into doing some road work for the county. And my mother, although I didn't know when she worked, but she worked at the pocketbook factory in Jersey City before she got married, and even a little while after she was married. They lived downtown Jersey City, and then they decided to move up in the heights of Jersey City, and we lived there for the next 35 or 40 years.
Yeah, that's right.
And what else did, I guess that's about it. They were good parents, and we didn't have a great big house or anything, but we got along fine. My two brothers and I sometimes would sleep in the same bed, and if it got cold during the night, my father would throw another kid on top of us. And it was very warm then. Where were you born to be?
I was born.
Where were you born to be?
I was born in Jersey City, and
Siblings?
yeah, I really lived in Ithaca, New York at the time. But my aunt was a committee woman in Jersey City, so my mother was able to come down
I
to
had
Jersey
one
City,
sister,
and I was
Marilyn.
born
She's 4 years
free.
older.
I was a Hagee baby, Margaret Haig Hospital. I was born there, and then I returned to Ithaca to be
We just
raised
had a
for
good
4
time.
years. We had lots to play in, LOTS. There were no yards, there were lots and apartment buildings, and that was fun. My father was a professional from Italy. He learned to be a barber there. So when he came here to be a citizen, he went up to Albany, Auburn, New York, to live with his sister, who had a family, and he was a barber. And I think that he was coming down to Jersey City, and somehow he got in there and got a job. And my mother happened to live upstairs over the store, over the barber shop. And her brothers used to go down and get their haircuts. So she went down to look for that handsome Italian man. And that was the beginning of many years. And Mom was, she just had the 2 children, and she was a waitress. Really? She was a waitress, and she made very good tips. And that's how I got my clothes when I was in school. But the tips she'd bring home.
Yeah.
Let me
You had-
jump in here because
you
there was a funny one including you.
Oh.
On special occasions, my mother and father would make homemades. That would be homemade macaroni. And they would work the dough in the morning, and then they would put a plain sheet, on the bedspread, because that's where you dried them then. And, put the little semolina flour on it, and it stayed there until you put it in the water later on for 1 minute. And when Papa Jack here came to visit for a special visit after we were dating a bit, it was cold, and he had his coat, and I took his coat, and I said, "What did you do with your hat?" And he said, "I threw it on your mother's chenille bedspread." So that's, the hat was in the middle of all the pasta.
I don't know whether you call it a tradition or not. We used to go down and take, my grandfather had a home down in Lakehurst, summer home, and we used to all go down there for the whole summer, whole family, everybody in the family, my family and my cousins and all, but we'd go down to
Well,
Lakehurst
we
and stay
met,
for a couple of months before we went back to school. And we did that every year. In high school, we knew each other from high school, but we weren't really
Sometimes there
close.
were
17 of us in the house at one time, staying for the week.
Wow.
Was it a big house?
No, little tiny house. We slept in the attic and then the other 2 bedrooms. Your grandmother was a, lower class person. I don't mean class, but I meant
freshman.
it in school. So I was in there a couple of years. Just a nice little Italian girl walked into the department to have an interview with my boss. But then when I got out, I graduated from high school and went to get a job at a company called M.W. Kellogg. It was a steel company, so to speak. And lo and behold, after I was in there. And I went into the boss's office after she left, and I said, I think I know
Then
her.
I saw this
Her
cutie,
name is,
and he was a
Vivian
junior buyer or
DiStefano.
whatever.
Yeah, I think I know
And
her. That's cool.
so we worked together.
I said, why don't you hire her? She's nice. So he did. You tell the rest of that story.
Yeah, so I went to work there. I didn't know, when they said Jack O'Rourke, I was picturing John O'Grady, because you were in the same class and all. But then
Thought my head would blow off.
I planted a good one on him, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I had a boyfriend at the time. He was away in the service. And I was getting to like Papa Jack here. So after one party, we kind of kissed goodbye, and I think that was
Kinda kissed goodbye.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you know, we remained friends, just working together. And then boyfriend and I just dissolved the relationship, and he was right in the wings. And
Waiting as usual.
why don't you tell him about the pink raincoat?
Oh. Vivian said, come and pick me up at the corner of Boulevard and 6th Avenue, and I'll be waiting for you. Well, when I pulled up to the
Where were
curb,
we going?
we were going to a Knights of Columbus dinner, not dinner dance, but a dance.
Yeah.
You know, late in the evening, 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock. And when I pulled up, she was there, looking beautiful with a nice pale pink raincoat on. And I said, wow, well, she looked good. And I took her to the dance, and afterward we all went out, the crowd of us went out and had a couple of drinks on the way home. And when I pulled up in front of her apartment to let her off, she did it again. She gave me a big smooch.
Yeah, but wait a minute.
Oh, you didn't give me a
I
smooch?
turned around to get my umbrella from the back.
We made a pact
And that
when we
was
first
your
started going together.
time
Yeah, she
to-
went right, yeah, she didn't land it, of course. She was right over my shoulder from another leaning to get the bear. So we decided she's going to be good friends. I had no romance, nothing like that. It was
Oh,
good
really?
friends, we had a good time. And that's what happened. And then I drove 3 cars on the way home. But we had a nice time, really did.
And then we started to date. That was fun. That
And
was fun.
we made. I heard about being good friends.
Love walks right in.
I work alone.
How long did you guys date before you got engaged? And then what was the story when you got engaged?
Oh, we dated about a year or so.
About a year.
Yeah, I'd say about a year, yeah.
And how old were you guys?
I was 21, 2,
When?
like that.
When we got
When we
engaged.
got engaged.
Oh, we
yeah.
got engaged, yeah. Yeah, I must have been 24, right?
24 was 25, yeah.
Yeah, I was 24, we got engaged, and I proposed to her in a restaurant in Jersey City one night when we were having a little dinner. And I didn't say, will you marry me? I just said, what do you think, Vivian? Can we get married this year or soon? And that was it. 2 days later, the restaurant burned to the ground. It did. I don't know why, but it did. It must have been.
Just to add here, it's funny, this nice little story. For our engagement dinner, my father took us to a very nice restaurant in Jersey City. And afterwards, we went back to the O'Rourke house. And we had more fun there than anything. The father had collected hats and
My
this
father.
and that. His father,
Grandpa O'Rourke.
Grandpa O'Rourke. And he opened the closet and he had all hats in there and he was taking out music, and it was just a small group of us, your brothers and my sister and I. And
Priest that
we had a wonderful time.
married us,
yeah,
very
yeah,
best
it was the
friend.
beginning of
Bob Hallowell, Father Hallowell,
Mhm.
Mom's family, and performed the wedding ceremony for us. Know each other very well.
Yeah.
Wonderful time.
Yeah.
He's been my lifelong
What
friend.
was your wedding date and where was it?
October 19th, 1957. How am I doing so far?
Very good, Jack.
In St. Aidan's Church in Jersey City. Big, nice big church, very nice church.
It was a nuptial mass.
Nuptial mass, and the priest. And it was a great day, a little cold and windy, grayish day,
Yeah.
but that didn't matter. We still had a great time.
Where'd we go on our honeymoon? Do you remember that?
Oh yeah, we went to Newark for one night.
No, we had to go to the airport.
Yeah, we had to go to. Well, we stayed in Newark,
In Newark,
at the Essex
Essex
House,
House, yeah.
one night, and then we went to Newark Airport the next morning and flew to Miami, Florida, Miami Beach.
What was the name of the motel?
The Castaway Motel in Miami Beach.
Mhm.
Very nice.
Is it still there?
Thank you,
Yeah.
thanks.
So yeah.
That night when we left for our honeymoon and going to
We were
Florida,
married in October.
my mother and father hosted a
in
party
March,
in the basement
I
of the
was
apartment
pregnant.
building, and most of the people in the family were there
After the wedding.
after the wedding. When we were on the going to the honeymoon, they were having a good time at the party, and they, sandwiches and drinks and Aunt Cousin Lucy singing, and
Mhm.
they said that was better than the wedding.
Yeah, we missed it.
It was one of those everybody get together, So that was fun. That was fun stuff. Good start.
Yeah.
I always remember the first time I was sitting there watching TV after work, had my hands on my stomach, and I felt pregnant, and I was working. And I said, in Englewood, New Jersey, I had a job, and I had to go in and tell the boss that I think I'm pregnant. And he said, well, why did you take the job? And I said, well, I don't know, I wanted a job. So morning sickness, the usual stuff, but I did well. And by, I guess, October I left, and John was born in December. Yeah, so I wish. And then I went and felt again, and a little flutter, and that was the first time I felt a baby.
So why did do you remember the reasons why you named each child their name? Like, was there any reasons
Go ahead,
behind?
Jack, jump in.
Uh,
She came on Memorial Day with a bang.
maybe, band playing and.
The band was playing in
Outside the
Englewood, New
hospital.
Jersey, and the nurse was saying, okay, I said, no, the baby's coming now.
My grandfather both called John, so
Mm-hmm.
that was easy. And the next one that came along was Lorraine. How did we get Lorraine's name?
I think I liked a girl's name Lorraine because I had a girlfriend when I was younger, Lorraine. And those days you needed a middle name that was more Catholic. So John was
He
Michael.
born in- when we lived in
So
Roselle.
we made Lorraine Mary.
Yeah, was she born? Yeah, she was born
And
in
I must
St.
tell you,
Elizabeth's
her
Hospital.
birth, yeah,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah, Elizabeth. And then the older ones, had a lot of fun with her because she was a little baby. They liked to have a baby around. So. That was 10 years after John.
6 years after Lorraine, Valerie. And that's how she entered the world with a blast,
Oh,
I
yeah.
tell you. And she hasn't stopped
Hasn't
since.
stopped moving since.
That's for sure.
And then next was Valerie,
Mhm.
right? And then they had Janice after that.
Want to tell them about the hospital when you,
She was
the shoes, the sister?
the
Borgia?
the nuns were the nurses in the hospital were all nuns, and the Sister Borgia was the head of all the nurses there. So she was always around all around halls and telling people what to do. And I was bringing your grandmother told me to get a pair of shoes for her and bring it to the hospital so she could come home. And I was walking through the hospital with the shoes in my hand, and Sister Borgia says, "Where are you going, young man?" I says, "I'm trying to find a woman to fit these shoes." She said, "Don't get smart with me." Where are you going? So I had to tell her where to go. So I thought she was going to have me stand in the corner with the shoes, in like 1 hour. But she was cute. And
Good
they were
friends.
shoes and who like to have
Around
good
with the
times
shoes.
and a baby. Help each other as well.
Well,
And Janice.
Valerie was Valerie
We
Ann.
found out when we got
Oh,
our
and
first
Janice.
home was
Elizabeth.
Janice
Elizabeth.
Elizabeth, yeah,
10
so they
years.
all had middle names were,
Good friends there. We still talk to
you know,
today.
Irish and Italian family, right? So if we didn't have the children were going to look. So I didn't want to have real Irish names, and the kid looked Italian. So, it was Janice, and then it was Valerie and Lorraine, and they were kind of good middle of the road, names, right?
Right.
So yeah, so it's a good group.
What was your favorite home that you guys lived in? Did you have a favorite?
That's a tough one.
Huh?
It's a toughie. For different reasons, all of them were nice for us.
Like what?
Mostly because of the neighborhoods. Friends, every place we lived with we've had great
Grammyland.
Grammyland,
for 21 years.
Yeah, 21 years.
Yeah, now we're here at then we moved to Westfield, and that was a nice house. I don't think you liked it as much as the other houses.
No, it was a nice house.
A big split level house.
John,
People there.
John was a little blonde kid,
That was a nice
and,
house. There again.
the hair
Good friends
combs
in
aside.
Westfield and good neighbors. And then next house was Shark River Hills. Nice house in the hills down by Belmar, and we liked it there. Again, friends. Made it for us. We were there about 7 years. Then we went to our retirement home, our first retirement.
Grammyland.
With our son John and Cindy's condo in Lake Ridge Village East.
No, Lake.
Lake.
Leisure.
Leisure Village.
Leisure Village. Leisure Village East in Lakewood.
Right.
John.
Well, what about John?
No,
Can-
you go. When you start, I'll remember it. And I'll
you can
interrupt.
tell who's younger. John.
Almost a block behind. Don't walk with me. I want to walk alone. So
Right,
he went to
right.
his first day of school all alone. His mom about a half a block behind him.
Yeah. His teacher was Mrs. What was her name? I forgot. No, I'm going blank.
Yeah.
But she was a black woman, and he really didn't see too many black people. I guess we lived in white neighborhoods, whatever. And so he was drawing one day. She told us, and he drew her, and he said, "This is the blackest face I've ever seen." he was sick once. He had in the fifth grade. I think he had a bronchitis and a walking pneumonia,
Oh, yeah.
and we had to do the paper route. So
We?
you well, did I go with you?
No.
You did it all.
No, and he gave me instructions before I left where each person wanted.
Jimmy hired him,
wants it behind
and
the
he was
bush,
very
one
good
wants
there.
In the
And
mailbox,
Jimmy,
one wants it up on
Jim,
the porch.
John got so good that Jimmy decided that he could,
all
it's
the
time
time
he could take it to the paper, right?
Then that folder was
John
always
was in charge of the hardware store.
Put it in their paper. What happened? Why did he do that? What? And he told him he was sick, and they were so glad when he went back to work because they all got their paper on time, and it was in the right spot.
Right.
But he told me, you gotta take care of his customers, Dad.
When we moved to Westfield, he wanted a job, and he had a job the first day. He went down to get something in the local hardware
I sent him to
store.
the hardware store down in town there, down near our house, to get some parts I needed to fix something at the house. And when he came back, he said, I got a job. I said, you got a job? I said, yeah. He's like, I'm gonna work for the hardware store.
what was he, 13?
Yeah, 13,
About
14.
13 years
yeah.
old, yeah.
Mhm.
Jimmy's hardware, I was called something else, but Jimmy was.
Lorraine was our
and
bubble.
he,
She was full life.
yeah,
Oh,
and,
always.
dark
Always in
curly
motion.
hair, always moving.
Too beautiful.
Still the same, you know.
Jimmy said, I'll hire you, so. And he did a good job, and I went over one Saturday to help him out, and he told me, he said, at the end of the day, Dad, you gotta step outside. He said, I have to hide the money. I said, so what? That's all right, just go ahead. He said, no, he said, Jimmy told me not let anybody see where I hide the money. And I said, I'm your father. He said, it doesn't make any difference. So I had to go out way outside while he hid the money in some places under the floorboards, I guess, something. And, yeah.
Now Lorraine, God love her.
How much time you got?
Yeah. Lorraine was our bubble. Something else.
Yeah.
Full of life. She was on a softball team with Val. We'll talk about that later. And that was fun. And then when she went to high school, she became a cheerleader. She was an athlete. That was great.
Yeah,
We loved
big-
that.
oh, yeah.
She had
Uh,
big blue eyes
lot of
and
pep and
when I
energy,
was feeding her and
always,
looked
right?
down,
Yeah.
and she and her sister Val, they would work together.
Schemers. They were schemers, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But going back a little bit when Lorraine was little, like little tot, if I used to carry her, she wanted to sit on my
She'd say,
shoulder.
okay, it's all right, it's okay.
She was going to my shoulders. She wanted to stand on my shoulders in the house, especially so she could touch the ceiling. Always standing on my shoulders.
Alpha bird.
I'm
That's
good, Dad,
good.
right? I'm good. And she just,
Climb
you're
up,
good.
climb up, and she was
They just
Yeah,
loved
she
her.
was like
You know,
that.
she was
Yeah.
fun. Case three of them now.
Yeah.
She was just like her mother. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Mom,
She didn't want to miss a trick, so she's brushing her teeth in the bathroom when
and she came
we're
out.
talking or something, and she came out and she's brushing her teeth, and without knowing, she went.
Brush the teeth in the living room.
Valerie. Now Valerie was kind of the opposite. She liked to sleep, and she did. I know, like Kristen, like you. She was a baby that you would feed, and you'd put her in the carriage, and just put her outside a little bit, and she'd sleep for the next 3 hours between bottles. So she did like her sleep. Down. I got scared to look up at her.
If I had to scold Valerie, and I had scolding her like this and looking at her, and the big blue eyes would start to feel like a thermometer.
And if we were scolding the other children, she would say, "But not me, Dad."
But I'm
right?
good.
I'm good.
I'm good.
Oh yeah, tell about Lorraine and Valerie playing softball that
Oh
last game.
yeah, they
Oh my
played
gosh.
softball and softball. They were in the finals for the championship, I guess, of the league or whatever it was. Valerie's up at the plate in the last inning,
Lorraine's
Lorraine's on
8,
first
she's
base, she got
6,
walked
and
or
along
something,
comes
and
Blondie.
Valerie's nervous, like she's up there. And if she gets one little hit, the game is over. They win, and all of a sudden Lorraine got distracted and stepped off first base. You weren't allowed to take a lead off the base, so she went off the base, out. Game's over. That was the third out, and she was crying. I looked up. I looked down, and then I looked up. She was in the middle of the field crying. Lorraine's crying and crying and crying. I went over, hugged her. The coach is hugging her and all. And Valerie's like, I could have got a hit. I could have won the game. And so Valerie was so glad that game was over. It wasn't because she would have struck out probably. But yeah.
They had a bedroom upstairs, the two of them, and they used to like to play up there. And I used to say to them, "You can't hit each other. I don't want you fighting." So they used to blow on each other then. And then across the way, there was a window in their bedroom. They were on the second floor, and across the way was a little gal. Was her name forgotten? And Perry was the last name. And she'd be looking at them. She was the only child, and so they would play act. They were killing each other.
Yeah,
just
kill personality.
Kill
Kill each other
personality,
just to
yeah.
make
Curl
it
up.
personal.
Curl.
Well, they all have something different.
Yeah, Janice came 6 years after Valerie. That was kind of another thought. So
Beautiful.
John's 10. She's cute little kid.
Yeah, kids,
They loved her. This wasn't our baby, it was their baby. I mean, every night when I was pregnant, they'd sit, Lorraine over here, Valerie over here, John maybe would come over once in a while, and they'd say, "Let's feel her kick." So I mean, it was their
always
their
saying,
child.
yeah, and you may not
I
understand.
was in the
but
hospital.
Never put a buck before a
You
friend.
in other words,
Don't put a dollar before a friend,
Mhm.
and
Take the friend and send the dollar.
when I came home, I had mom's
Friendships are better than
clothes in a brown paper bag.
Say wealthy.
I walked in the back door
Didn't have
and in the
money.
kitchen.
Friendships are better.
Valerie and Lorraine and John were sitting at the table having lunch, I guess it was. A neighbor down the block was taking care of them. They were having lunch, so when I walked in, I said, "It's a baby girl." Valerie said, "Oh, is it in the bag?" Is it in the bag? So she's a good baby.
She's a good baby.
She was
Good,
an
yeah, good baby.
entertainer from the time she was born. She was an entertainer.
Yeah. She liked to entertain the family. Well, your father loved her.
Yeah.
She climbed on his lap. You know, she was the youngest of all the cousins, Janice. So she was your
Helpful about that.
What was the best lesson or moments of insight you've ever learned in your life? Like any lessons you would, or advice you would give anyone?
Well, in my case, and it's my father. I think my father mainly influenced me about friendship. I guess he was a very, very honest man and had a lot of friends, and he liked to help friends and all. But he always did. nice to all have good friends. Your parents, my God, your mother's got more friends than, in fact,
She's
you could loan
overfriended.
her some of her friends.
Mhm.
She's always got friends. But to have friends, you have to be a friend too, and be there for them, not
And I
just in
had to
good
kind of
times.
learn to
But he was like that. He would,
be myself.
my father would
but
sit in the living
yet
room on Sunday,
blend
all
in
after
with them.
church, all dressed up after we came home from church, and sit in the living room all dressed up, and reading the newspaper. And he'd keep an eye on the street outside in case anybody came by. It was a highway, big highway with trucks and buses and cars. In case anybody broke down and needed some help, he was ready to run out, whether he was dressed or not, to help them out. My mother used to kind of get annoyed at him a little bit. Well, you look, just enjoy yourself, relax. Well, you never know if somebody's going to have a problem. But he was like that. But I learned that friendships are really very important. And be nice to everybody. Like his past president just passed away. He was like that. He was nice to everybody. Big people, big shots, little shots, doesn't make it. Like I remember my father, we used to sit outside on the porch sometimes, and this man would go by every once in a while, and I heard my father say, "How you doing, Congressman?" "Oh, hiya, Frank. How are you?" The congressman of our district lived in not too far from our house, and used to walk over to the courthouse and places like that to visit people, and he knew my father real well. My father was just like he's just another guy. "How you doing, Congressman?" And I said, "Who's that?" He said, "That's Congressman Dominic, forget his name, Italian. Remember that? Yeah. It was very nice."
But bring yourself,
That was important to
and
me.
maybe they can
Not
learn
that-
from you a
not
little
that,
bit.
you know, friendship with a politician or anything, but anybody.
Bring whatever you have. You have to modify it sometimes to please people. I know. You know, marrying into a different culture type thing, Italian, Irish. There was differences. Blend in with them. And one of the things was that at wakes, they didn't cry in front of the casket and all that. They were more inward with it. Maybe they cried alone. And when my mother-in-law died, she was the first person, I guess, in your family. I went to the casket and I started to cry, and one of my sister-in-laws walked up and said, "Don't cry, you'll upset Pop, what was his name? What do we call him? Your father? Grandpa." And so I had to kind of learn. So I told my father about that once, and he wasn't the most outgoing person, my father, but he was a good father. And I said, it's so hard to bring who I am. That's the best thing in life is grandchildren of another culture. And he said, I always remember, this goes back to your question, Casey. He said, be yourself. Bring what. That was a good thing, because there were some challenges in our life that we had to be yourself and to be true, right?
Right. And your mother said, "You're at Palisades Park."
Oh, when we moved to Palisades Park, it was 5 miles away from the family and this and that, and I wasn't sure about we should be there. And my mother, in her little simple ways, would say, "You take Palisades Park and take it by the tail and turn it."
Yeah.
I can still visualize her telling me that. Moments.
And when you guys are born, the grandchildren.
Oh my God. Or we just enjoyed our babies. And that's what I kind of miss, though we're too old to work it.
Yeah.
But I just loved my babies.
We've been
I
blessed.
love my grandchildren.
You've been blessed.
We sure you have.
That's for sure.
Yeah. dating. Then they wanted to come in. I said, we were in bed. It was like 10:30, 11 o'clock or something like that. And they came to tell us they were engaged.
Right.
But there was a moment, I don't know whether this fits in, but we were in bed on a Saturday night. It was late, and doorbell rings downstairs in Shockerville Hills, and it was your mother and father at the door.
And she said, no. Look, Lorraine said. I
Yeah,
said,
so
oh
sweet.
my gosh.
Oh, it was so nice.
That was wonderful. That was wonderful.
Then we had to learn to accept Charlie. I didn't want to do that.
Charlie Parker.
Charlie
now that's
Parker.
a we never say Charlie. It's Charlie Parker.
Yeah, we say, all my friends call him Charlie Parker.
He's a unique
When I
man.
say something, they'll say, "You mean Charlie Parker?"
Charlie
We
Parker.
know Charlie Parker. Yeah, good man. Good man.
If you could do one thing differently, what would you have done, or do you have any regrets?
I think in my younger years, I would have paid more attention to other things that we weren't privy to, like learning how to play a musical instrument, or having any special skills. Like pursue something that gives you a nice skill that could be, you could make a living with it, or you could just use it as a fun, as a hobby. And I think about that a lot when I see somebody play a piano, for example. I say, well, I wish I could play the piano. I wish I could have done this and that.
Yeah, because what we didn't do or had privy to, whatever, we enjoy it from you,
Mm.
you know, or our children who do it. Playing the trumpet, playing the piano, whatever. Yeah, I guess it's that. It's
Well, even their athletic things, you know, like
Yeah,
organized
yeah,
sports.
yeah.
Soccer.
if
and
you didn't do
softball.
it, you found it in your children and your grandchildren.
Yeah.
And that works for me anyway. Right.
Well, I'd say to you too,
Mhm.
Kristen and Casey. How nice to be interviewed by you two, and look at you as beautiful young ladies, being very successful in your careers, and working hard, and enjoying your lives. And working hard is part of the enjoyment. You'll appreciate that later in life, how hard you work to get where you are and where you will go. God knows where you're going to go. We love it. We love watching you.
Mhm.
We love you.
What I notice with our children and our grandchildren is a very strong work ethic. And you don't realize it until your grandchildren have it. And I mean, both of you have shown us that whatever you attack, you really go at it and do it right. It's good. Life is good. Right?
Yeah. Oh,